Testing, testing. No. Testing. All right, great. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Justine Johnson, and I am the Chief Mobility Officer for the state of Michigan. I have the pleasure of leading the Office of Future Mobility and Electrification, and we are really proud to be here along with our partners from the National Park Service and as well as U.S. Department of Transportation to announce the Michigan Mobility Challenge and our grant recipients. First and foremost, just in terms of providing some context, in 2022, we really leaned in terms of working together with the National Park Service and as well as with the state of Michigan to identify opportunities where we could really focus on providing access and sustainable mobility options for all visitors of the national parks in the state of Michigan. From this partnership, we have now had the pleasure of talking about 2.7 million people who are visiting national parks and more. And it is really an opportunity for us to bring innovative mobility solutions to visitors of our state parks. These state parks are really a gateway for communities who are looking to explore our state parks and resources, enjoy the recreational spaces, including our coastline and as well as our campgrounds, but also really an opportunity to learn about how Indigenous communities have utilized critical minerals like copper to build innovative tools and technologies. And so this is something that we're really proud to provide a learning ground for many communities and their families visiting our national parks. This work is really and truly a component of collaboration and leaning in with a collective effort to really bring new mobility offerings and solutions. And we're so proud of the three grant recipients who responded to our call in 2023 as part of the Michigan National Mobility Park Service. And so there are three companies who we want to applaud here, and I'll just go through the three of them. One, Adastec, which is going to be deploying an autonomous electric vehicle transit bus, which is right behind me, and that will be deployed at Sleeping Bear Dunes. The second entity is Superior Watershed Partnership, which will be deploying community charging hubs and really providing an opportunity for those who are living around the state parks, especially within locations in the Upper Peninsula. So this is a really exciting effort on that end. Lastly, the Michigan Department of Natural Resources and Track Chairs will be providing additional transportation services, specifically wheelchair accessible off-road chairs for people who are visiting state parks, really providing inclusivity and as well as a joyous experience for people and their families. Lastly, I just want to thank the USDOT Volpe's Center for really working closely alongside the National Park Service for this innovative partnership and really bringing together a number of different voices and resources to the table to really set a national model for what it looks like to bring innovation and mobility, sustainability, and equity for all. So I want to say thank you to our partners for making this happen. It is truly our collaborative efforts here that helps us to achieve remarkable results. And so I thank you all. And next I will turn it to Director Bowen.
Thank you. Thank you, LG, for bringing a breath of fresh air. You always do. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here today to celebrate parks and especially to continue the expansion of mobility and accessibility and sustainability on public lands throughout our great state. It is also a great pleasure to be here with the National Park Service and an outstanding partner they are in outdoor recreation. We have world-class outdoor recreation spaces in Michigan, managed by local, state, and federal governments. We want to make sure we're serving the needs of all our visitors. We're grateful to be a recipient of a grant from the National Park Service Mobility Challenge Program. The grant will help us continue to address a priority concern of our state parks by helping us put a track chair in Muskogee State Park in the Upper Peninsula. I want to thank the efforts of our Parks and Recreation Division, led by Ron Olson, and Action Track Chairs in our state parks. We have more than any other state in the country. We've also increased our accessible lodging opportunities at state parks, adding more accessible campsites, mini cabins, camper cabins, rustic cabins, yurts, and lodges. And we put a priority on renewable energy, adding solar panels in parks and fish hatcheries, and adding electric vehicle charging stations to some of our state parks to encourage EV use. We've done a lot, but we have a lot more to do. A huge boost in this direction was funding supplied by Governor Whitmer and the legislature to undertake much needed improvements at our state parks. Together, additional funding for local parks. This funding from the American Rescue Plan Act marked the largest single investment in Michigan parks in our state's history. Thanks to Lieutenant Governor, Governor Whitmer, the National Park Service for furthering these important efforts. We look forward to doing more in cooperation in the future so people in Michigan can enjoy the Michigan wonderful woods and waters. Thank you. Scott Turner.
Hey, good morning. My name is Scott Tucker, and I am the superintendent of Sleeping Bear Dunes National Lakeshore. But today I'm excited to actually represent all 5 national parks of the state of Michigan in this collaborative partnership between the state of Michigan, the National Park Service, and the Department of Transportation. Last year, 2.8 million people visited national parks in the state. That's up about 30% over the last 10 years. And so that's an extra million visitors taking opportunities to camp, to paddle, to hike, and relax in these amazing places. And over the last 10 years, we've learned that visitors have different ways of doing things. We're excited that there's going to be charging stations outside of Picture Rocks National Lakeshore and charging stations outside of Keweenaw National Historical Park. This is an area where an extra million visitors impacts not only the infrastructure of a park, but it also impacts the infrastructure of the local gateway community. And the partnership with those that are with me today will set the stage for how we can help a visitor experience in years to come. Often, visitors have no idea if they're in a state park, a national park, in a gateway community, or in a park area. They know that they are out using public lands. And so from the National Park Service perspective, we have over 300 million visitors a year across the country to 420 national park sites. The opportunity we have today with the partnership with the state of Michigan is creating a window of what other parks across the country can experience in years to come. I'm excited about the bus behind us. The bus is going to create an opportunity for visitors to experience Sleeping Bear Dunes in one of our most chaotic areas of the park. This month alone, 400,000 people will be at the Pierce Stocking Scenic Drive. The bus behind us, though, is more than just Sleeping Bear. It's going to actually set the stage for dozens of national parks across the country that already have transportation systems in place. Shuttle buses, shuttle vans. We're going to put this through the ringer. We're going to look at technology and what the technology for the next 10 to 15 years is going to be. We're going to put this in almost a closed circuit of chaos. A windy road, steep hills, steep inclines, wildlife, bears, deers, tourists. We're going to have every opportunity to see how technology can adapt to the future of how visitors visit parks. And so it's beyond Sleeping Bear. And that's what we're really excited about. We're going to create opportunities for across the country to see how a driverless electric shuttle can perform in the extreme atmosphere of people on vacation. So that being said, introduce the Lieutenant Governor. Thank you for your partnership.
I hope y'all recorded the best commercial for Sleeping Bear Dunes you've ever heard. The chaos is also amazing. What I'm really inspired by with this announcement and what these awards represent, what the partnership represents, is the fact that we are creating accessibility and opportunity in Michigan with this step forward. Parks don't have doors, but they can have barriers. Everyone doesn't always feel like they have full access to parks and public spaces. That's true in Michigan, and that's true across the country. Those barriers may not be physical, but they may be psychological. for some reason, people don't feel like these spaces are available to them. Maybe it's because they are a person who is differently abled, who has a different method of mobility, and doesn't feel like a park is a place they can go and enjoy themselves or to be reminded of their difference. Maybe you're a person who doesn't know how to swim and figures, what can I do at a lake if I don't know how to swim? Maybe you're a person who has taken the step of driving or owning a plug-in hybrid vehicle, an electric vehicle, and may feel like it's great to go and drive to the UP to go to a park, but I need to be able to charge my car so I can get back home. These are barriers that have stood between people and choosing to experience our amazing public spaces in Michigan that we have been so blessed to steward. What today's announcement represents, what this program is an illustration of, is the fact that myself, that Governor Gretchen Whitmer, that our team in DNR and our Department of Environment, Great Lakes and Energy, I'm happy to have Director Roos here with me, that are in partnership and collaboration with the federal government, the National Park Service, the Biden-Harris administration, all those who have chosen to invest in solutions like this in the state of Michigan, the amazing entrepreneurs with the companies that are represented in these awardees. We are coming together to say that we will remove barriers that stand between people and experiencing the fullness and the beauty of pure Michigan, because everyone in our state has a right to it. That is something that is yours because you are a Michigander. And we will work to make sure that nothing stands between you and that experience. So whether it is mobility challenges like we discussed, whether it is how you can get from point A to point B within one of these amazing places, we're going to find a way to get you there and get you through and to give you an experience that you can remember. We want everyone in Michigan to experience these kinds of things, which is why Governor Whitmer and I not only have made historic investments in our state park infrastructure, but also why we have created programs like Nature Awaits that have given every fourth grader in the state of Michigan now free access to state parks during their fourth grade school year. Because I don't want fourth graders to grow up like I did in Michigan, never having visited a state park until I was an adult. But if children can have that relationship, if families can have that relationship with these kinds of spaces and resources in the state of Michigan, it will deepen their commitment and connection to the present and the future of our state. And that's something that I want every Michigander to be invested in. The last thing I want to touch on is something that Scott said in terms of what Michigan represents as a place and a platform to prove out the technologies of today and tomorrow. If something works in Michigan, it can work anywhere on the planet. That's been true for hundreds of years. That is the result of the diversity of our natural resources, the diversity of our terrain, the diversity of our weather. If a technology can survive in this place, it can thrive globally. That's why we have been a global epicenter for design and engineering talent for generations and will continue to be so. That is why when people who have ideas want to make those ideas real, they can continue to and must choose the state of Michigan as the place to put those ideas into the world. It is why the pathway toward this dream of health and wealth for people who are hungry, for families that want to take their next step and say yes to a community that will welcome them, must choose the state of Michigan to be able to make those things happen. When something works here, that means it works for people. When something works here, that means it opens doors and removes barriers. And that is what this program represents. So yes, we are proud to celebrate this next step in the journey of partnership between our state and the federal government. We are happy to make sure that more parks that are in the state of Michigan, whether they are national lake shores or national parks properties or are more than 400 state parks in the state of Michigan. We're proud to open those doors wider. But we are also proud to, we believe, take one more step towards giving the gift of the experience of these to more Michiganders in more ways, to give the gift to Michigan entrepreneurs or those who are not yet Michigan entrepreneurs, but should be, the opportunity to make sure that their technology, that their solutions, that their systems, and that their services work in this market so they can know that they will have the confidence to be able to work and grow in elsewhere. That is what this represents and what I'm so proud of. So thank you so much to everyone who helped make this happen. I'm excited to see how people begin to build new relationships with parks because of what we've announced here today. And let's take a big step forward and stand tall in our future. Thank you so much. if I'll be real loud for a second. All right, in case I couldn't hear the question, she asked about the impact of this from a job standpoint. I actually want to have Justine speak to this in more detail. But at a high level, there's a few things that this represents. I think the first and foremost is the fact that it highlights that there are a lot of jobs available in the outdoor recreation economy. When we look at last year, Governor Whitmer and I made a concerted effort to highlight and emphasize our outdoor economy in Michigan and make specific investments to grow it. Outdoor recreation has always been an important part of our economy across Michigan, but especially in northern Michigan and in the Upper Peninsula. That's a part of our economy that represents at least $30 million of activity that we expect to only increase, and we've looked to put more resources into that. And I think companies like the ones that we're partnering with these awards, not only by proving out their technology and realizing that it works, they will be able to expand not only individually, but I think will inspire others to be able to join this outdoor economy and see that Michigan is a viable place for it. And then by making these parks and public spaces more accessible, it also means that more people will come and take advantage of and experience them, which will lead to more jobs and economic activity, stability, and mobility in the gateway communities that Scott talked about, but in all those who work in service either directly or indirectly of the vitality of our state park resources.
I'm going to speak to any jobs numbers specifically.
Sure.
That. And in addition to what the Lieutenant Governor mentioned, again, these are the three companies that have been involved. There will be a range of jobs, of course, from those who will be doing remote applications, those who will be actually part of the monitoring systems, especially when we talk about deploying automated and autonomous technologies into the built environment. Of course, the resources at National Park Services, so there'll be a number of folks who will be supporting a number of these pilots and programs. We can come back to you with more specific numbers of each place of all of the different job numbers, but really this is an opportunity to expand our work in outdoor innovation and recreation for all, and so we're excited for the number of our talent to be a part of this process as well.
Hey, Sheldon Krause, 9 to 10 News. For more the park side, with the automated bus, first off, I'm wondering, are there any safety concerns with, you mentioned the obviously challenging conditions of Sleeping Bear, so just kind of, what you might say to some attendees who, might be a little concerned seeing this on the road.
Yeah, no, great question. For those who didn't hear, the question is safety concerns of the autonomous bus on the Pierce Stocking Scenic Drive and that connection with visitors that are going to be sharing the space. I think one of the great things about the project we're going on this summer is this bus has been on the road here on Michigan State University for the last couple of years. And so it's been proven in a city urban atmosphere. When we move it up to Sleeping Bear on that 7.5 mile Pierce Stocking Scenic Drive, it's almost a closed loop. It's a one-way road. There are parking lots and access points that translate really simply over to the same idea of parking in a city street. And so I am not concerned at all. And it's more of an education and visitor. I think the biggest piece are going to be visitors are going to be excited to see what's going on. We're going to have a harder challenge getting a visitor on the bus to stay in their seat rather than watching how the bus is moving in that atmosphere.
Thank you. I just had one on the chairs. Just wondering if how many of those are in operation currently in Michigan parks, and just how that process has been going so far.
We currently have 27, I think. Is that right, Ron? 27 track chairs. 18. Okay. This is 19 then? Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
The most in the USA.